How is everyone doing today? This is another bad grow for us. It is a tomato that grew in our yard this year, and I want to show every variety, good or bad, that has grown in our yard to try to do a quick little video on. This is not the black from Tula. There's a tomato called the black from Tula. It's actually a Russian tomato. Tula is a industrial town in Russia that was named after, and because of the darkness of the tomato, you can almost imagine like the dark and dirtiness of a heavy industrial or mining town, for example. So it was named after black from Tula, from that industrial town, and it's a Russian tomato similar to the Paul Robeson or the black trifle in color. And we ordered seeds from it, and this is the seeds we got right here. So we grew this out. There was 6 varieties near the very end. The 2 that we put in as emergencies and really unique things we hadn't really heard about, just in case other things started falling out in our yard. But most things that we had planted had went, so we went ahead and only were able to get 2 of these. Ones that didn't make our yard, for example, would be the great white tomato. There's another one. The mushroom basket tomato didn't make our yard in the extras, but the Berry's Crazy Cherry and the black from Tula did. I was really excited to try this one because I think it leans more towards a, like I was saying, black trifle or a Paul Robeson tomato sort of saucing tomato more than like a Cherokee purple might be, or a black crim, for example. But this is definitely not it. When we got these seeds, it was from a kind of a lesser known, little shadier source, but they were also the ones we ordered the black cobra seeds, I believe, from. So when we ordered the black cobra seeds, those were true to type. I'm super excited to get that. I'm not going to go ahead and bring up who the seed seller was. I would say the worst thing about this part right here is I can tell when you cross tomatoes or peppers, they're self-pollinating. So when you get a cross from another plant, the plant that the pollen comes from would be considered the father plant, and the mother plant would be where the flower was pollinated on. So that would be considered the mother plant, for example. And in tomatoes and peppers. So if the mother plant will generally have a little bit stronger genetics, but even if this was 50-50 genetics, I can tell that this tomato right here, there's no way that the father or mother plant on whatever variety this is has anything to do with the black from Tula. So these seeds were put into a package as who knows what kind of tomato from where. We're gonna have to give them a try, because I mean there's a little bit of trussels and it doesn't look too bad, and since it was relayed in last grow, we really didn't do a good job with these plants. So the plant actually did pretty good, even though we have a horrible grow on it. But being that it's definitely not true to type, it has nothing to do with the kind of tomato that we had. All we're really going to do is we're just going to take these ones off here, take them in and try them. Unless there's some sort of miracle flavor in this tomato, we're not going to even save seeds or worry about, but we'll just sit down and try something unique and random. But this was supposed to be the black from Tula. It is definitely not the mother or father. Plants are definitely not it. I would almost think that it came from a hybrid that was then grown out. A lot of times the hybrids, when you try to grow them out, they try to revert to their old self, and you usually get some sort of a trashy or weird tomato. It's a lot of problems when you take tomatoes, for example, from a supermarket and you try to grow from those seeds. You'll usually get some really ugly tomatoes that won't look nothing like the tomatoes that you had gotten, because the seeds are kind of hybridized and trying to get back to their regular self. So I'll take some of these off, take them in, and we'll give them a taste. Catch you in a second. Alright, so this is the WTF, what the flavor tomato. It is definitely not a black from Tula. It doesn't have anything to do with the black from Tula. Size, shape, coloration, growth pattern, nothing like that. So I'm not even quite sure what it is. This is kind of my guess. I know that the big flu last year caught everybody off guard. A lot of seed sellers were backed up. I think this one was actually a seed seller that kind of took us a little bit extra time to get the seeds from. So they probably just found a store-bought tomato, saved the seeds from it, and it's coming out with this wonky one. Or it might be some sort of established type of cherry or plum tomato that I just don't recognize, that was accidentally put in the same thing. But regardless, I'm not too concerned about crosses and everything else like that. When it's completely different, I tend to get a little bit less excited, but if it's a cross that happens in our yard or something along those lines, I can usually kind of determine what it's crossed between and see something unique. This one I have no idea. I have no idea what it is, what it's going to taste like. It's got a completely different looking centers on each type. Sorry about that dishwasher, you guys. They look like little cherries, though. This is like a typical cherry tomato you might get from a supermarket or something. Look how different. Well, I don't know. It kind of has a single with almost like a Batman pattern in the center.
Yeah, so they look a little different on several of them.
Yeah, together they look like legit cherries, like you would pull from a cherry tree, but... Here, I'll let you have the sweet ones, but or the other sweet one, I'll let you have an extra sweet one, though. Dishwasher problems, tomato problems, dogs barking problems. I want to try to catch this.
It tastes like a regular red grape tomato, like what you would buy from the grocery store. It does have a little more flavor though, probably because it's grown at home and ripened on the vine. But that's what it tastes like to me.
I definitely don't like it though. It's not something I would want.
If you're a fan of red tomatoes, you know, homegrown red tomatoes, I think you would like it. But we're not going to save seeds on this because we don't.
Do you want to try?
We don't know what it is.
A little bit under done one. The ones that are just barely, the ones that are fully ripe don't have it as much, but there's a weird like sour taste to that one. These ones.
Yeah, there is a bit of a sour taste to it.
And it is lingering too. It's so gross. I'm gonna eat these, but man, I have no idea what this is. I'm guessing it's a hybrid that is trying to revert to its regular shape again. Sometimes it's not even a hybrid you get from a grocery store, but you're still going to get a weird tomato. What you'll get is a really productive kind that might have a plant that's, you know, prone to certain diseases, things like that, but it produces a lot of decent style tomatoes, and they'll take what's called rootstock, and it's a tomato plant that almost has no production, but it's a power plant. And so they'll take the rootstock and then they will splice the other type to the rootstock tomato and grow it like that. So all the vitamins, all the nutrients and everything else like that are pressing up into the tomato from the fruit that they're going to sell. And then when you grow from those seeds, it doesn't have that advantage, and it also, I probably might share a little bit of genetics from that rootstock. But you grow a tomato plant and then you just cut the top part of it off, and then you splice another tomato to the branch and the roots that are sticking up, and that's the rootstock.
I mean, it's not a terrible tomato. It is edible. It does have more flavor because it's homegrown, but it does remind me of a grocery store grape tomato that you would buy for like salads and stuff.
Yeah, and it's got an aftertaste. I was so hoping this had some redeemability. I don't even feel like I'm gonna have to go out and have some of those other black cherry tomatoes or blue cream or atomic grape flavor, just to get that out of my...
It does have an aftertaste, but the overall flavor of the tomato is not terrible. It's not something that we were looking to grow or were expecting, so we're not going to save seeds. We don't know what it is.
Yeah, and we're seriously considering going 100% unique on the tomatoes and peppers next year. If we end up doing that, not having this actually be the black from Tula would mean that could be one that could be in the lineup on a completely unique yard. But we haven't fully figured that one out yet. I might look for more seeds on this. I can't remember if we shared the rest of the pack out or if we used all the seeds, because there was very few seeds in the packs from this specific seller. But again, I don't want to disparage anybody or focus on the negatives. I want to focus on the positive. It was a fun little look. They look like bubblegum bubbles out there on the thing. It was pretty productive, but it was a really just kind of sour tasting, blandish.
The darker red ones were a lot sweeter in taste.
Yeah, the red ones were a lot sweeter, and it kind of stopped that flavor. That flavor was lingering though for me. It's still,
Yeah,
I can
it's still
still
lingering.
taste it.
I can too.
So this is the WTF, what the flavor tomato. It is September 17th of 2021. I'll take you guys outside for one last look. Love you guys. Alright, so that was absolutely horrible. The not black from Tula tomato was mushy, sour. And it's getting some tassels and some silks on this mini corn. But you can tell it kind of made it in here to the back of the yard. Really cool looking bubblegum flavor that gets really really hot pink or fluorescent pink almost. But the flavor, it's still lingering. But I wanted to show every type that we grew in our yard, even this random type. We did our last pepper video was our bad growth, the ugly pumpkin, and this is the WTF. So love you guys. It is September 17th of 2021, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Yeah, those were really gross, huh? What should we do with these? We don't even want those in the mulch. Volunteering. Horrible. Even for a yard tomato, it's almost like I would almost rather have a store tomato than have that.
Yeah.
At least they fill theirs full of water or 3D print them first, right?
Yeah.